So what we're looking at here is the 9th month, which, because the Torah calendar is a month ahead of us, this should really be the 8th month. So I want to show you the 27th day of the 8th month, the day where God told Noah to get off the ark, lands on December 3rd. Now, in the Torah calendar, it's Hanukkah, but if you start the year when you're supposed to, which we went over in the last video, the second month in the 27th day is December 3rd. So December 4th would be the day the tribulation, the 70th week of Daniel, the 7 years begins. So on the 3rd, God would say, get off the ark. In other words, the rapture could take place. And then immediately after that, the next day, the tribulation starts. The 7 years. Taking you exactly to October 28th and 9th, the day of Atonement in 2028, which is literally when Jesus Christ should be returning to the earth. Because Israel cannot be more than 80 years old, and that year Israel will be 80 years old. Generation doesn't pass 80 years old according to Psalm 90. And Jesus said in Matthew 24 that the generation that sees the birth of Israel will see all these things, the tribulation, the rapture, and the return of Christ. That generation shall see all of these things. That means Israel cannot be past 80 years old. So that takes you to 2028, the Day of Atonement, October 28 or 29th. Joel 2:31 says, I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. Does that sound like a volcano or what? The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. So on the 19th of November, we had a blood moon. On December 4th, we're going to have a total solar eclipse, which is when the sun will be turned to darkness. Now, the Bible says that this happens before the coming of the great and awesome, or some say great and terrible day of the Lord. December 4th is the solar eclipse. December 4th is also the day that the 70th week of Daniel, the 7-year period promised to Israel in the book of Daniel, that some call the tribulation, where the attention goes back to Israel and the bride of Christ will not be here. That's when the great tribulation will take place, the reign of the Antichrist beast system. This 7 years, biblical years, 360 days a year. If you start counting on December 4th, the day of the solar eclipse, if you count exactly 7 years, which is 2,520 days, you end up at the Day of Atonement in 2028 on October 29th, which is the very day that Jesus Christ should return to the earth. Did you hear what I just said?